Ever wonder what makes a movie character truly unforgettable? Sometimes it's not just the lines they say, but the clothes they wear. Today, we're re-diving into one of the most revolutionary periods in film history, the New Hollywood era of the 1970s and 80s. This was a time when movies got real, gritty and raw, and costume design had to keep up. Before the 70s, Hollywood was all about glamour. Think perfectly tailored suits and flawless gowns. But the new Hollywood directors wanted something different. They wanted authenticity. This meant costume designers had to completely change their approach. They ditched the glossy, stylized looks for naturalistic clothing that looked lived in. Think muted colors, worn-out textures, and clothes that actually looked like something a real person would own. Films like Taxi Driver and The Godfather are perfect examples. The costumes weren't there to be spectacular. They were there to tell a story about the characters' inner lives. It was a quiet revolution, using clothing as a tool for psychological storytelling. This shift was also fueled by the rise of method acting. Actors like Robert De Niro and Al Pacino weren't just playing a part, they were becoming their characters. To support this deep immersion, costume designers had to adapt. Actors would wear their costumes off-set, breaking them in to feel more natural. Wardrobes were intentionally aged and distressed to reflect a character's backstory. Designers worked hand in hand with the actors, collaborating to build an identity from the fabric up. The line between the costume and the character blurred, making the wardrobe a true extension of the performance itself. It was about creating a person, not just a look. But while gritty realism was taking over drama, a different kind of magic was happening in sci-fi and fantasy. The late 70s and 80s gave us some of the most imaginative worlds ever put on screen, and costume design was at the heart of it. Star Wars, for instance, introduced silhouettes that are now legendary. The simple Jedi robes, the imposing stormtrooper armor, and of course, Darth Vader's terrifyingly iconic design. These weren't just outfits, they were symbols of an entire universe. Around the same time, Superman redefined the superhero suit for the big screen, making it look both powerful and believable. Designers experimented with new materials like plastics, foams, and metallic fabrics, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. They proved that costumes could literally build worlds and inspire entire fan cultures that thrive to this day. And you can't talk about the 70s and 80s without talking about music. The vibrant music scenes of the era bled directly into film fashion. Punk culture, with its leather jackets, studs, and DIY attitude, brought an edgy realism to movies like Repo Man. On the other side of the spectrum, the dazzling glamour of disco, with its sequins and body-hugging silhouettes, lit up the screen in Saturday Night Fever. Rock and roll gave coming-of-age stories their rebellious spirit. Costume designers became cultural translators, taking the style from the streets and weaving it into the fabric of their cinematic stories. It was a perfect fusion of pop culture and film. Finally, this era saw the birth of the modern blockbuster, and with it, a new role for costume design: branding. A character's outfit became a powerful symbol, instantly recognizable to audiences everywhere. Think about it. Indiana Jones isn't Indiana Jones without his fedora and leather jacket. The Ghostbusters are defined by their utilitarian jumpsuits and proton packs. Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator became a cultural icon in that leather jacket and sunglasses. These weren't just costumes. They were logos. They became part of our shared pop culture language, proving that a great costume could define a franchise just as much as its story or theme song. So, the new Hollywood era completely transformed costume design. It became this incredible mix of gritty realism, imaginative world building, and savvy branding. Designers created looks that were not only authentic to the characters, but also shaped entire genres and defined generations of moviegoers. Their work reminds us that sometimes, the most powerful stories are told not just in words, but in the clothes we wear. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into film history, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more behind-the-scenes stories. See you next time.